One of the things we like to do here on the local show is to tip you off to some of the special programs coming up on public television.
For example, next Tuesday, PBS joins forces for the first time ever with the phenomenon known as TED.
I started enjoying the efforts of a lot of other people around the country who believe that every kid in America deserves to have a quality education.
Teachers need real information right now.
Join me, John Legend, and some of America's leading thinkers, teachers, policymakers, and students for TED's first ever television show.
We need a system that helps all our teachers be as good as the best.
TED Talks Education premieres Tuesday, May 7th at 10, 9 Central, only on PBS.
All this talk about TED at the national level is a pretty good opportunity to sort of shift the conversation to how TED exists at the local level, and to that end, Mike Lundgren from VML, I believe you are the licensee and curator of TEDx. Is that the right title?
That's exactly right, since 2009, actually. So we're getting ready to go into the programming for our 5th year, actually.
What does the X mean? I assume it's not adult content.
Yeah, no, there's only a single X, and it's lowercase. So it's TEDx, and X actually stands for independently organized events. So these are actually events that the main TED organization has licensed. And you have the ability then to put on an event in your local community, and that's what it's really all about. So we're TEDx KC for Kansas City, obviously.
You got in pretty early in the whole thing, is my understanding. Kansas City, while some would think wouldn't be a logical contender, indeed we are.
We actually were among one of the first few licensors of the format, actually, maybe the first 50 or so, and have actually been one of the largest TEDx events really in the world these last couple of years.
Now, someone sitting at home is still scratching their head. Maybe a lot of people do know it, but TED, just thumbnail.
Sure. TED actually stands for Technology, Entertainment, and Design. And actually, it's long since transcended that format. It's really more about the world's thinkers and doers, people that are doing important works around the world. And the format's about an idea worth spreading. It's an 18-minute talk. At least it can't go longer than 18 minutes. And so these are literally the talks of a lifetime that someone gives and rehearses for months to give. And it's a great format because it's the idea of ideas, which is really an exciting thing to rally around.
And it's been sort of a web phenomenon, but we just saw that PBS has finally gotten on the agenda. We've been on the agenda for 2 years with these TEDx's, and you've seen it grow quite a bit just in those 2 years.
We've had a kind of a storied history in Kansas City. The very first year, one of our presenters, John Gersma, who actually has graced our stage twice, his talk was posted on TED.com. It was one of the very first talks from a TEDx event or one of these independent events to actually make it to the main website. And then, since then, he's actually been back. He has another talk that made it to TED Women.
Yeah, that speaks to the curation, I think, and the curation is incubating. We got curation, we got incubation, because there's a big one coming, and you're thinking maybe bigger and better than ever before with this year's TEDx.
That's right. So August 20th, we'll actually stage our 5th major TEDx event. It'll once again be at the Kaufman Performing Arts Center, so on August 20th. And we're making some special plans to actually make this one of the largest events that we've ever held, and actually, more than likely, probably the largest TEDx in the world as well.
Now, that's a pretty big promise there. I don't know what the largest one exactly would be so far.
Well, let's just say we're trying to beat out TEDx Sydney, that this year moved to the Sydney Opera House.
And it is a team effort going forth to help some individuals do pretty well. Quixotic comes to mind. I mean, among others who've sort of benefited from this. Why don't you tell us what they...
Sure. Quixotic actually is one of 2 alums from our stage that were invited to present at the main TED conference year before last. So, of course, their talks are also on TED.com. They stage a spectacular performance. Of course, anybody who's ever seen Quixotic knows what an amazing performance that they can give. When they left the stage, it was standing ovation, and I think Al Gore and a few other celebrities actually kind of rushed them right after and said, wow, this was just such an... I mean, Cameron Diaz and Al Gore standing there, telling Quixotic what an amazing thing they just saw.
So that's one of 2?
That's one of 2. Yeah, the other was Brene Brown. And Brene Brown was actually a discovery. Some friends of mine here in Kansas City actually helped us find Brene Brown. And she's now one of the single most watched TED Talks actually in the world.
Excellent. Also, I just want to say Amber Rubarth, who was part of the event last year, turned out to be such a crowd pleaser, and I gather, another of those who came away with a great feeling about Kansas City from being
Terrific feeling. In fact, she emailed earlier this week looking for an opportunity to come back to Kansas City, so we're trying to come up with something creative to get her to do that.
You got lots of planning to do. August 20th is actually not so terribly far away. Tickets will go on sale when?
We expect tickets to go on sale around July 9th, actually.
And they will, at least if history is any indication, go very, very fast?
Yeah, they probably will go very quickly.
Yeah. Well, then, of course, people can always watch it on TV here on KCPT down the line.
That's our expectation. Really, without the partnership that we have with KCPT, the Kauffman Foundation, the Performing Arts Center, Harvest Productions, and others, including Boulevard Beer, it really wouldn't be possible to put on an event this size. So,
yeah, it's a fun time. Again, I'll let you get back to the planning, the theme. Did you tell us exactly?
The theme this year is impossible. And Regina Dugan, who actually headed up DARPA a few years ago, chief scientist, brilliant director of that advanced research facility, she gave a TED Talk 2 years ago. From the stage, she challenged people to envision what it is they would attempt to do if they knew they could not fail. And a few minutes later, she followed up with this amazing quote that we can change the world if we defy the impossible. So our theme this year is impossible. We can change the world if we defy the impossible.
All right. Well, Mike Lundgren, thanks for talking to us about the upcoming TEDxKC. And don't forget TED Talks Education on public television coming up next Tuesday right here on KCPT at 9 p.m.
Thanks, Randy.